Look who it is.
Well, hi there, food friends. It's Kevin.
Hey, where'd you come from? I'm Ralph. I'm behind the camera.
And welcome to Cavalcade of Food.
What you got going today?
Well, today, Ralph, we are going to make a chicken dish, kind of inspired by Southeast Asia. So a little bit if you've had Thai food, I know.
Me, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Indian food, Thai food, Vietnamese, all East Asian, and colorful, fun cultures that do a lot with coconut. And
this is gonna kind of tie those together.
No pun intended.
Right, and I got a great deal on boneless, skinless chicken thighs at the store, and so I thought, oh, well, we like a bargain.
Yeah.
So it's like, what can I make that would be, something a little different than the usual chicken. So this is going to be a kind of a coconut chicken with sort of Southeast Asian flavors. So what I'm doing here is I've got about 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And we love chicken thighs. You could use, if you don't like the darker meat, you could certainly use boneless, skinless chicken breasts here instead.
Yeah.
That would be fine. I'm trimming. There's a little fat on here, so I'm just trying to trim that off.
And like, what size would you say you're cutting these into?
Oh, maybe 1 to 2 inch pieces. They're not all going to be the same. And I'm going to brown these. We're going to make this whole thing in a Dutch oven.
Gotcha.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish cutting and trimming these chicken thighs, and then we're going to come back and I will get them browned in the Dutch oven, and then we'll start to add the rest of our ingredients here.
See a lot of fun spices. And things.
So
Ooh,
here I've got onion.
Yeah.
I've got garlic. I've got ginger, carrot, and these are jalapeno.
Ooh.
So for a little de-seeded, for a little heat. I left some of the ribs on, so your heat with your jalapeno peppers in the seeds and in the ribs. So the more seeds and ribs you take out, the more heat you'll take out of the pepper. So I did de-seed them, but I did leave a little of the ribs in there because we want a little of that heat.
Yeah.
If you don't, no keep. Take it out. Okay. Ralph, I've got my chicken cut up here, and I'm going to start putting it in the pot here. We're just browning. We're not, just want to kind of get a nice little sear on it. I'm going to have to do it, looks like, in a couple of batches. I put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the bottom here. And so, get one more in there.
I learned from Kevin from watching his cooking that if you put too much in there, it's called overcrowding, and that's what you don't want to do.
Right. You don't want to, because then what happens is the food ends up steaming more than it does browning, and that's not what we're going for. So again, we're going to do everything in this pot. So I'm going to brown all the thighs, and then once they're brown, I'm going to add to the pot about an inch piece of fresh garlic. Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
That I peeled and just diced up here. These are 2 minced garlic cloves. Okay. And then this is a kind of a medium onion that I diced up.
Perfect. Garlic and ginger just go so well together in this type of cooking.
They do, and they're perfect for kind of that Asian flavor. I'm going to add a little tomato paste. I love the tomato paste that comes in a tube, because when you only want to use, say, a tablespoon or so, rather than open a can and then what do you do with the rest of the tomato paste? This you just put the cap on and throw it in the fridge.
All right.
And then I've got this is a 500 milliliter carton of coconut milk. And again, have me bring over my jalapenos that I chopped up. I've got, I think, 4 carrots here that I've cut up. And then we have our beautiful spice palette. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, it looks like an artist palette.
So here's what I've got. I've got a teaspoon and a half of ground cumin, 2 teaspoons of ground coriander, a teaspoon of chili powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of cracked black pepper, a half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, and a teaspoon of turmeric.
Wow, that's the real orangey thing.
Yes, and that will also give a beautiful color to the dish. So here the chicken is starting to brown up here. I'm going to flip these little pieces over. See that?
Yeah, it looks good, and you can hear the sizzle. That means it's doing its thing.
So you know what? Let me get all this chicken browned up in the pot here, and then we'll come back when we add everything. I've got the oven of our 53 Westinghouse on the preheat to 350 degrees. We are taking out the chicken thighs. Yep, they're all out. Now what I'm going to do, Ralph, is I'm going to quickly put all of our spice palette here.
That one?
Yeah, in there. There's a little residual fat, and this is what we call blooming.
So it's infusing the flavors into the fat or the oil, or which is actually a combination of olive oil and chicken fat.
Yep. And then you just want, once you can smell the fragrance of the spices.
Yes.
Okay.
You can certainly smell
Now
it.
we're going to add the onion. Okay. We're not browning these. This is going to cook. These onions are going to cook nice and soft. We're going to add the garlic and the ginger. Okay.
Smells like a chili dog over there.
We're going to add, let's say a tablespoon and a half of tomato paste. And we're going to let's get that in there, incorporated. It'll dissolve. Let's add our chicken back in. There we go. And the juice from the chicken, can you see what it's doing? It's deglazing the pan here.
You can even hear it.
Yeah. And I want to coat, look at that beautiful color. Mm-hmm. A lot of that is the turmeric coming through. Let's coat everything so that everything is beautifully spiced. Speaking of spiced, going to add in our 2 jalapeno.
It's going to be hot.
Now you could use, the heat. You know, when you cook jalapeno peppers, it really tames them a little bit. So, use the pepper that has a heat level that you like. So maybe you prefer more of an Anaheim, or, you can go all the way down to just if you don't really like the hot spice, just use a sweet, like a bell pepper. Okay? But you could use an Anaheim, a Fresno pepper. You could go hotter with a
habanero.
Yeah, or serrano. We'll put our carrots, that'll give us a little sweetness. And then last but not least is our coconut milk. And again, this is a 500 liter, or milliliter, I should say.
And that's going to give it a creamy richness and a
Yes.
nice flavor, of course. Coconut.
And a sweetness too from the coconut milk. And we're going to, again, use that. That is going to pull up the flavors on the bottom. All right.
So this is going to end up baking and then going over rice?
Yeah, we have some nice basmati rice that we're going to make and serve this over. And there it is. Isn't that pretty? Beautiful.
Starting to get those wonderful aromas of the mixture of flavors and spices and yummy things.
This is the wonder of having a thing like a Dutch oven, because you can cook on top of the stove and you can put it in the oven. So if you don't have one, it's a nice investment to make, because we use them all the time.
One time I put a pan in the oven thinking it was oven safe, and it wasn't.
You'd know right away, right?
Yeah.
This is. So, anyways, let's put it in the oven, and you know what? We're going to let it go about 90 minutes or so. It's at 350 degrees, and then we'll check on it, okay?
Sounds good.
And so we're making our Asian-style coconut. Okay, Ralph, I'm making some basmati rice.
Basmati rice to go with the coconut chicken curry thing?
Yeah, so I've got 2 3/4 cups of water I just brought to a boil, and I've got 1.5 cups of basmati rice. Okay, we're going to give that a stir. So bring the water up to a boil first, put your rice in, give it a stir, reduce the heat to simmer, and cover. Okay?
That's it?
It'll take about 20 or 25 minutes.
All right.
All right, and then we'll have our rice, and that'll make a great sort of bed for the coconut chicken, Southeast Asian coconut chicken.
All those spicy flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you can do different things to the rice, toasted and stuff beforehand, or you can use other things besides rice if you wanted to.
Yeah, you could. You could use. You could eat this with like what they call a naan bread, which is an Indian style, very flat bread.
Naan, not non, N-O-N-E.
Yeah, right. And I was thinking too of this dish. Now, while we're doing it in the oven, and it'll take about 90 minutes or so in the oven, you could do this in a crock pot if you wanted to do it ahead of time. And you could do this in 4 or 5 hours in a crock pot. Basically, do what we did. You could brown the chicken or not, but basically throw it all in and put your crock pot on and come back in a few hours and do it that way.
And then it would really just melt in your mouth.
But for us today, we didn't have the time, and we just thought that
we're hungry.
So what else is new?
We want to get cooking.
Anyway, so we're making our rice. We're starting to really smell. The whole place is starting to smell like the chicken dish is kind of starting to come through the oven a little bit.
Yeah, coming through.
So looking forward to that, and I'm going to chop up I got some nice fresh parsley that I'm going to chop up. You could also use cilantro for the top, but I found the market had parsley today, so that's what I got.
Yeah, sounds
Our
good.
rice is done. Let me bring that over. Look at that, Ralph.
Nice and fluffy.
Nice and fluffy, and the basmati is a fairly long grain.
Yeah.
Kind of rice, but it has a wonderful
nutty aroma.
Yeah, fragrance to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put a little bit down here on the plate. That'll sort of be
the base.
Yep. Then get our
concoction out.
Coconut.
You should call it coconut concoction.
Our Asian chicken, coconut chicken. Oh, so look at that. Give that a little stir. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
I actually shouldn't use a slotted spoon because I want
that
you want to
broth.
Get that. So let me switch up here.
All right.
To a
more of a serving spoon. Yeah.
Yeah. You've got the carrots, and you've got the jalapeno, and the onions have just cooked to almost nothing. We're going to make sure we have plenty of that.
This looks like the kind of thing
coconut.
You could add, like if you're more of a fan of maybe potatoes or peas or
absolutely. You could dice up some. If you wanted to stretch this a little bit, or had less chicken, you could add peas. Would be great. Potato. Let's garnish with a little
parsley, which you
Little
said could also be
cilantro,
or
you know, something green. Now, who
Yummy.
wouldn't want that?
that does look delish.
And of course, it's hot. So let me just take a small bite. Yum.
Getting the good flavors.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely getting the coconut. And I'm getting the jalapeno flavor, but not
the heat.
not tons of heat. Again,
interesting.
you know, I took the seeds and most of the ribs out. Yeah. Oh.
This is always the part where we got to pull them away from the plate so we can finish it up.
You're going to like this, Ralph.
All right,
Yeah.
I can't wait to try it.
So here it is, our one pot coconut chicken. Oh, what are we calling this?
Yeah, something like that. Coconut chicken curry.
Asian coconut chicken. While it doesn't have a curry in it per se,
that's right. It didn't have curry, but a lot of
it
the
has
spices.
a lot of the spices that one would find in a curry.
So,
Because a curry is really just
a blend.
a blend.
So you could just call it a
of
coconut,
spices.
a coconut chicken, and you could do it, as you said, you could do it in a crock pot if you had more time and you wanted to let it really simmer for hours. But this was a 2-hour, one-pot
Yep.
deal, mostly in the oven, right?
It needs a more fun name, but you know what? It's delicious.
Okay.
And I like your suggestion, Ralph. You could put peas in here, potatoes. Actually, you could leave the chicken out and do completely a vegetarian version of this.
Right.
Okay, if you wanted to use maybe some chickpeas, potatoes, or some other kind of beans in here instead of the chicken.
Yeah, we know some of our friends are vegetarians, and
Yep.
I love spinach in anything, so maybe we
You
could do
could
it
put
with
some spinach in here.
spinach on the top or something. or-
Anyway, this was a lot of fun putting this together. It's going to be more fun eating it. But thank you for sharing it with us and being here at Cavalcade from Croswell, Michigan. And you know what? We'll see you next time right here on Cavalcade of Food. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for being with us.